Okay, I think we're ready, right?
When we are ready.
All righty. Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Director Shalom Sherla.
Here.
McCarthy Olmsted. Here. Martian.
Here.
Riley.
Here.
Brown. Middleton.
Here.
Pulapati.
Here.
Sandhu.
Here.
Nava.
Here.
Spees.
Present.
Hackett Little.
Present.
And Descala.
Okay.
And you do have your quorum.
Fantastic. Thank you. And let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over heart. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the Metro Replay statement and meeting announcement?
Yes, this meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov and will replay on Wednesday, June 26th at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14.
Thank you. And since I'm new at the chair, I'd like to ask to make sure that everyone uses, what did I miss?
And I can read the announcement from the county by your leave.
Oh, yes, please. Let's do that. Thank you.
And so the county fosters public engagement during the meeting and encourages public participation, civility, and use of courteous language. The Commission does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant. Seating may be limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. To make an in-person public comment, please complete and submit a speaker request form to the clerk, that's me, and each individual will be invited to the podium to make a comment. Members of the public may send a written comment, which is distributed to Commission members and filed in the record. Contact information is optional and should include the meeting date and agenda or off-agenda item number to be sent as follows. Email a comment to boardclerk@saccounty.gov or mail a comment to 700 H Street, Suite 2450, Sacramento, California, 95814.
Okay. And so we do, just a quick question, we do have the use of the request to speak and the voting buttons, right? That's part of this?
Yes,
okay.
We do.
So since this is my first time doing this, I would gracefully request that everyone please use the request to speak button. If you haven't seen it before, I believe it'll pop up when the item comes up. And then let's please use the voting. So anyway, let's get started. And so do we have any off-agenda public comments?
Yes, item number 1 is your public comments relating to matters not on the posted agenda. And if you'll bear with me, let me just check with my moderator. And we don't have any public comments for this item.
Okay, thank you. So then that brings up consent matters. And would you please call the items?
Yes, your consent matters this afternoon are item numbers 2 and 3, respectively. Number 2 is adopt a resolution approving the 14th Amendment to the Channel License and Operations Agreement pertaining to the use of public education grant programming channels. And item number 3 is to adopt the revisions to the 2024-25 Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission meeting calendar.
Fantastic. And do we have any public comments?
And there are no public comments for either of the items.
No public comments. Do we have any commissioner comments?
I'll make a motion to move consent then if there's no comments.
All right. We have a motion and a second. I think the motion was Riley. Second, Pulapati. All of those in favor, please use those voting buttons there. Yay, did it? Oh, you didn't? You don't have to do it with a motion.
No, but for the second or whatever.
Yes. Right.
Okay, and unanimous vote for approval.
Okay. And so, call the motion. The next item, please.
And so item number 4 this afternoon, directors, is to hear the presentation and adopt a resolution honoring Elizabeth Rhodes upon the occasion of her retirement. Item number 4.
Fantastic. And so, Mr. Davison.
Good afternoon. Bob Davison, your Executive Director. And I do have a presentation, and at this time I invite Liz Rhodes to approach the podium, and I will meet you at the podium. Hello, Liz. Oh, is this work? Yeah. Hello, Elizabeth Rhodes. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Am I too happy?
So you decided that since I retired, even though I'm here, I actually retired, that you thought you would too.
Absolutely.
In all seriousness, I came on in 2006. Elizabeth Rhodes had already been here for, and I'm not trying to do the age jokes or anything, but she's been, a fixture at the Cable Commission meetings since the advent of cable TV in Sacramento. And I'm going to read the resolution, but I don't know anybody that's done more for education and media in education than Liz Rhodes. And she's been a great partner to the commission. She's been great to work with. I'm really happy to see you go, but I'm sad to see you go, especially because I'm back too a little bit, So with that, I just want to read this resolution. After 39 years as executive director of and I always have problems with the name of your organization, by the way, but the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium, we affectionately call it SECC, Elizabeth Rhodes recently announced her retirement. Whereas Elizabeth Rhodes attended Pasadena City College from 73 to 75, obtaining her Associate of Arts degree in telecommunications, and attended the California State University Northridge from 75 to 77. She obtained her Bachelor of Arts degree in radio, television, film, and political science. Prior to relocating we finally got her up here, to Grass Valley in 83, Elizabeth Rhodes was employed by the Western Instructional Television as a director and field service assistant producer of the National Broadcasting Corporation as a research assistant. As a research assistant, and then California State University, Northridge, as an administrative assistant in the radio, television, film, and by the California Institute of Technology as a swimming life instructor and lifeguard. Wow. It's all stuff I didn't know. In 1985, Elizabeth Rhodes was hired as executive director and the first employee of SECC, and was responsible for taking the vision of SEC Board of Directors and making it a reality. Whereas as executive director of SECC, Elizabeth Rhodes was responsible for programming and management of the Cable Commission's Public Education Government, we call it PEG, channels 15 and 16, which provides the Sacramento community with public access educational programming that reaches across the borders of classroom walls. She's done more, just wait. Whereas Elizabeth Rhodes, as executive director, she provided excellent leadership, managed a staff of 7, and focused on collaboration and bringing people together. And whereas, as a result of this collaboration, Elizabeth Rhodes led SECC and was responsible in creating various committees, projects, including the Broadband Educational Services Technology Network, which we know as BestNet, which has provided high bandwidth internet to virtually almost all the schools in the Sacramento area. The Student Educational Video Awards, the SEVA program, and let's see, there's some things in here that are hard to read. So the Sacramento Area Educational Communication Professionals, Capital Region Educational Technology Cohorts, Digital Media Content Committee, Family Engagement Forum, eSports, and SEVA teachers. Whereas, due to Elizabeth Rhodes' leadership, the SEVA program has thrived and is committed to continuing the development and the implementation of media programs for all Sacramento students, and has provided state-of-the-art SEVA labs, providing students with professional broadcast production facilities and equipment, allowing for invaluable hands-on training and education. And in today's budget, we have a couple $100,000, I think, going to SEVA, getting more SEVA labs in more schools and getting more equipment in SEVA labs. So it's been a pleasure to work over the years to partner in that endeavor. So with that, now therefore be it resolved that the Cable Commission is grateful for Elizabeth Rhodes' 39 years of dedicated service as SDCC's Executive Director, and does hereby recognize and honor Elizabeth Rhodes upon the occasion of her retirement, and we wish her well in her retirement. And with that, and Chair Spieth, would you like to come down and maybe we can present her with the resolution and get a picture or so?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Harold, you presented it to her.
I'm going to make one quick comment. I'm not supposed to pull out these things. One quick comment. I've had just one opportunity to meet you before, and that was at the SEVA Awards about a month or so ago. And what was really apparent to me is how loved you are and how appreciated you are by that community. And I just wanted to say that I'm very, very impressed. And so thank you so much for bringing SECC from infancy to the great program it is today. So thank you very much. Did you want to
Do a picture,
can-
and then
I'll give you a-
she should say something, but
before or after?
Doesn't matter.
Whatever you want to do.
Can I do both?
You can do whatever you like. Whatever you like. The mic is yours.
And I did it all by myself, not. So I just have to say, first of all, my staff is here, and the chair of our incoming chair of our organization, Peter Skibitsky, is here. It is truly a collaboration. SECC is what it is today because of the vision that people had and how everybody worked together, including all of you and all of your predecessors. This is one phenomenal community, and I have been honored to be a part of it sometimes, and I can say it now since I'm leaving next week. Impressed that I got paid for doing something I love to do, because I always would accept that paycheck. But anyway, it really has been great. There are so many wonderful things in our community because of you. And I want to say, please, please, please continue to support it. You're all wonderful people. You all have great vision. And for the most part, you've all been involved in what we've done. And I think we all deserve, a round of applause for all of us. And you too. And your staff, amazing. And Bob is right. I had to do this because if Bob's not going to be here, I can't. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And then I think after that, we have to do public comment and then comment for directors. So you can't go away yet.
Okay.
But we got to take the picture.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn around.
Oh. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Oh, a little bit lower there. I want to hide behind you. Choice. Don't go very far. Can you what? Oh, you absolutely can. Congratulations. Awesome. Okay, so I think, big round of applause.
Can I sit down?
Do we have anyone signed up to speak? No one signed up to speak? So, do we have any directors who would like to comment? I know, YK, you got something.
I know we want to maybe, Chair, just want to make sure somebody wants to walk in there without a card, want to say something after this excitement? You did? Okay, good. Chair, thank you. So hopefully I think everyone is going to make some comments. That's what we are trying to do. I think this is, I was only 4 years on the city council, and graciously my council said, YK, you are going to be on the cable commission. And the good part they said is, don't worry, you will get the $100 stipend. That's what they said. But I met so many great people, and Liz, you are one of them. Thank you for everything you are doing. I'm an immigrant, and the education is the only one putting me in front of all of you. Only the education. When I saw the SIVA and they are spending time with the kids and empowering, enabling, inspiring, that attracted me a lot. Everything you are doing, however many number of years, that's wonderful. I know it's a big shoes to fill. Hopefully you will find somebody else, to fill, your shoes. But once again, sincerely, thank you again for all those. And as Chair said, we were there at the SIVA Awards last one. They were presenting a nice video. I'm going to make this comment. And Liz's picture was up there. At one point, I thought, why is Liz here? She should have been in Hollywood. That came my mind, but I connected the dots. She is working so hard with the youth to sense and make people to go to Hollywood. Thank you again for every effort you are doing. Chair, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Commissioner Nava.
Thank you. Liz, congratulations. I just want to say how lovely it always is to hear your reports at the Cable Commission. Not that this is not an exciting board, but but your reports were always so energetic, and your videos, and it's just much appreciated to see what the funds do. We sit up here and we do our thing, but to really see the programming, it's much appreciated by us. So thank you very much, and best of luck. Hope you're going to travel. Thank you. Thanks.
And Commissioner Riley?
Liz, echoing what Lisa said, congratulations and thank you so much. Really, the SEC videos are always one of my favorite parts of coming to this commission, seeing what our youth out in the community are able to do when they're provided with the tools that the SEC gives them is just really amazing. And the way that you and SEC has been able to adapt. This is an industry where, you can't teach the same thing you were 15 years ago. It's different. It's constantly changing from the equipment to the topic. Things like the esports that you're adding to make sure that you're doing what the youth want and providing them with what they want. And like I said, giving them the tools. It's been very impressive. We've been lucky to have you, and we'll miss you, but I'm sure SEC has had a good foundation laid, and we'll keep up the good work.
Thank you, Commissioner Riley. Next is Commissioner Hackett-Little.
And I just want to say, Ms. Rhodes, it's my first meeting here with the committee, so I'm honored to be here with my colleagues today, but also want to thank you for your dedication. Something that stood out for me in your speech was the importance of being able to do what you love as a career, and it's very clear that you have had such a great impact on this community. Again, it's a privilege to do what you love, and your legacy will clearly outlive your tenure and the impact you made on your staff and the community. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for leading by example and for truly spending decades making our community better. Thank you.
Great. Okay, I see no one else signed up to speak. However,
with that,
more.
There's a few more people that will speak via a video that has been made and that is going to be shown right now. And one other thing, because I'll forget after the video, there's a cake reception that's going to be in the hearing room just outside of the board chambers immediately after this board meeting. So anybody attending, any of the board members who would like to wish Liz a fond farewell, or if you just want to eat cake, come out there after the meeting. And with that, if Metro Cable could run the video. And thank you
person
again,
who wants
Liz.
to address us on this, I believe. Liz Rhodes?
I'm Liz Rhodes. I am the Executive Director of the Educational Cable Consortium. We miss seeing all of you, so it's a good opportunity. We thank you for your support on that past one. And as my dad says, it never hurts to ask. The worst somebody can say is no.
I'm very pleased to be able to say a few comments and words about my good friend Liz Rhodes. And Liz, in our community, you have left a very deep and lasting impact and impression. You are a champion and continue to be a champion for advancing technology in our schools and our educational system. But because of your efforts, your dedication, your determination to bring folks together, it wasn't always easy to see to it that all the school districts in our community, in our county, were able to have the same access.
The minute I came to that Cable Commission, she was so welcoming. And this SEVA program, encouraging, engaging kids, they are our future. She understands that. Now I see why SCCC is so flourishing with her skills and abilities, especially her leadership for the last 39 years.
I've known Liz for about 24 years now, and Liz has done amazing things for school children, introducing thousands of them to the world of video.
Liz, you were so great to work with. There is nobody else in Sacramento that's been able to do so much for the children and the people of Sacramento, schools and education.
And congratulations, Liz, on a remarkable career with SECC. I hope that we can just take your spirit and resolve into the future with some of the upcoming challenges that we might face. And congratulations again on your retirement.
I'm thrilled for Liz to finally be able to move into retirement, but I was sad to hear it because I can't imagine anybody who could bring more excitement and dedication to the Educational Cable Consortium than she has.
Godspeed, God bless you, and thank you so much, Liz, for all you've done and for being such a good friend to this community. Congratulations.
Congratulations on your retirement and your outstanding career, Liz. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you.
She's going to go on to do more amazing things when she retires, making the world a better place. And I'm wishing Liz all the best.
We all are going to miss her. She's an awesome lady to work with and a great friend as well.
Have a great retirement, bon voyage, and we'll see you around.
Congratulations on your retirement, Liz!
So technology is really taking off in education. BestNet is filling a great need within the community as well as cable channels. And with that, I'm done, unless you have questions.
All right, I gotta wipe the tears off the eyes. I can make this easy. Would you please call the next item? I don't even need to read.
Chair, we need to vote on this item.
Oh.
It's a voting item.
Okay,
Not that
I'm sorry.
we need to, but we need
My
to.
apologies. I thought we did, since there's a resolution. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion on that one.
Motion from YK?
Second.
Second from Middleton. And please vote. And surprise, it passes. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, now I can make it easy and just call the next item, please.
So your item number 5 is to adopt a resolution to approve revised bylaws of the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission.
Good afternoon, Bob Davison again, and I'll have a short presentation on this. The bylaws were updated recently. Many of you board members likely remember that. However, especially given last meeting when the meeting dates were changed, looking at the bylaws, we noticed the need for more flexibility in scheduling meetings. The previous version of the bylaws were a little regimented there. So there's a change to the bylaws that will add this flexibility so that the board can set a meeting schedule as needed and can call additional regular meetings if needed. And with that, I recommend that you adopt the resolution to approve the updated bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Davison. I think I need to ask for public comment.
And there are no public comments, and there were no public comments for item number 4 either.
Oh, I thought I called. Oh,
You know
anyway.
what? You may have. So
That's okay. We're good. Everybody's good. Okay, so no public comments. Are there comments from the directors regarding this item? If there are no comments, then I'm happy to accept a motion.
I'll move it.
A motion from Commissioner Nava?
Yes.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Pulapati. All those in favor, please vote. And it passes. Okay, and the next item, please.
So item number 6 is to review and potentially approve SAC Live TV channel licensing funding request.
And with that, I'll turn it over to Josh Nelson, the Commission's attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Davison. So this item is a follow-up from the Commission's March board meeting. And just as some background, the Commission licenses a number of PEG channels to our channel licensees. And those include Access Sacramento, KVIE, SECC. We just had last item in the Interfaith Council, which has historically been operated by Sac Faith TV. In addition to having the ability to operate a PEG channel, these channel licensees also have historically received franchise fee and PEG fee dollars to help fund their operations. With that, historically, Sac Faith TV has not received funding based on a provision of the California Constitution, the No Aid Clause, which prohibits public funding for being used for sectarian or religious purposes. Recently, Sac Faith TV transitioned to Sac Life TV, and as part of that, included a request for funding of their operations. At the March meeting, the board considered that initial request and provided direction to staff to work with Sac Life TV to see if some additional criteria, specific criteria, could be established as to when they would be eligible for funding as they continue their transition from Sac Faith TV to Sac Life TV. We have worked to try to put that together, but unfortunately there is no clear criteria or guideline or checklist that we could provide that would make it clear as to when that no aid clause would no longer be of a concern or be of an issue. Despite that, we did look for an alternative path forward. And what's before you this afternoon is exactly that. And so what the item proposes is that the Commission consider funding a subset of the initial funding requests, specifically some non-sectarian, non-religious programming that Sac Life TV would produce and then play on their channel. That funding is detailed. It's an attachment to the staff report, but includes a request of $70,000. As I mentioned, would be used to produce that funding. This request is included in the draft budget, which you'll consider in a couple of items, and has been agendized as an action item. But staff is really looking for direction. If the Commission is comfortable with this approach, we would bring a formal funding agreement back for you in the September board meeting, and then of course would be included in the draft budget, which you'll be considering in a couple of items. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did anybody have any, you want questions now, or do you want to, we should probably do them after public comment.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item? I would assume Sac Life TV is signed up.
That's perfect. And actually, no, we don't have anyone. No.
I talked to Bob. I thought it was already signed into that. My bad. Can I have a couple minutes? You're welcome.
Yeah, Phil. I mean, you can sign the card afterwards, and that'd be fine.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you much. 3 minutes, please, sir.
I'll keep it 3 minutes. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the last meeting. I didn't go the way I wanted to, and I was good to meet with the chair afterwards, who gave me some guidelines on how to approach this, and I thank you for that. So really, I love the agreement that we came up with as a go-between. We would basically cut the line in the middle. Anything that's faith-based, we would produce on our own and through our own fundraising. Anything that we would do that would be secular would also be, that was non-religious would be done either by fundraising or by monies that we could get from the committee. The big thing I'm looking at here is the way to survive right now going forward is it's not about the station, it's about the content. I use the example of KVIE. I love KVIE, but I don't go there because it's KVIE. I go there because of the content. Nature, Nova, and the other programs I like to watch. Our station's survivability is about what's on the station, what people come to watch. The new programming that I have in this budget, I brought some people up from LA that are producers that have credentials behind them for the Academy Awards and so forth. And we want to produce a couple of shows here that are going to make people watch, but also make people think. One of our shows, obviously, we want to do community events. I was just approached this week by the Sheriff's Department that wanted us to go out next weekend and shoot the first annual Sheriff's Rodeo and bring that to the television station to show the public. The other thing we have is the Powerhouse Podcast, which have controversial but information about what's going on in our community and both sides of what those conflicts may be, left and right. We've had Sheriff Jim Cooper on talking about trafficking and also about the crime situation. We have Topo Badilla on already talking about the bail reform, and we've had some people on talking about trafficking. And at the end of those programs, we ask the public to give us information about questions, or if they would like an alternative guest to come on and give us that guest, we would have that guest. The last one is our Project PTSD, which addresses our local veterans and their PTSD issues and how the public can help. This is just a sample of what we're trying to do and bring viewers in. And we hope that you'll vote yes so that we can continue our programming and move our station further into the public eye with the community. Thank you. Any questions?
We'll have some questions later when we have our opportunity to direct questions. Thank you. Do we have anyone else signed up? Oh, and if you would, please, there's a card at the back of the room, I think is where it is. Thank you. Okay, so if we have no more public comments, I will bring it back for commissioner comments. And I don't see anyone requested to speak or have questions. Okay, so then what you're looking for on this item is direction from us that this is a good direction to go, and you will bring a resolution back next time.
That's correct. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Does anyone have any guidance, suggestions, questions, comments?
I'll speak just real quick.
Sure.
I just want to say that since the last meeting, a few of us, I think, have had the opportunity to get briefed on this and understand a little bit more about the programming, which was much appreciated. So I think with the compromise and with Mr. Nelson's guidance and Mr. Davidson's guidance, I mean, I feel comfortable moving forward with what's recommended so far for programming and see how it goes, and hope that, and I would love to see some of the programming that our funds are used on in future meetings, just kind of a report back. That would be great. Little snippets or something.
Yeah. Fantastic. Commissioner Riley.
Yeah, just echoing. That helps. Just echoing a lot of what Lisa said. Thank you to staff. I really do appreciate your caution and guidance on this, and then working to find a path forward. But I agree with Commissioner Nava. I think I'm comfortable with this path forward. I especially appreciate kind of the focus on community events and kind of getting out into all the cities and counties. I think that can be helpful to all of us here, and yeah, it would also support moving forward with this plan.
Okay, Commissioner Shalom-Shirley.
Chair, I just need a clarification question from our staff. If somebody comes and asks for some funding, do we have at least, I know, Josh, you mentioned we do have a guidelines, at least a decent guidelines to provide to anybody, or we don't?
So this is a relatively unique program. So we don't have clear guidelines, and in particular, we had worked to see, is there a clear list, a checklist of what would qualify versus sectarian organization versus non-sectarian, and we're sort of unable to come up with that. We do have guidelines in the context of the other channel licensees, which is included a little bit further in the funding agreements that'll be approved as part of the budget. And in addition, another item on the agenda is the community grant program, and there are some guidelines there, but they're, this specific request is something of a one-off.
Okay. Yeah. Chair, thank you. I think that's all.
Okay. Okay. So seeing no one else signed up, I think everyone is generally in agreement with the direction, and do you need any more clarification?
I do not. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, and so we will move on then next to the next item.
And so item number 7 is to adopt a resolution to approve the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission's Community Grant Program.
Okay, Mr. Davison. It's the Mr. Davison show.
There we go. It works now. Yes, good afternoon again. I'm sure most of you recall at the last meeting we presented the community grant program, and your board at that meeting provided some feedback. So since the last meeting, staff has gone back and we revised the program and updated for certain items, especially items that were brought up. And I'm going to go through the comments that were made and what we've done and what's before you. So first of all, It was asked that we monitor the number of applicants in the first year to determine whether applicants may apply during both the February 1st and the November 1st grant and scholarship cycles of any given year. And with that, we didn't change too much, but we certainly will monitor that. And I think given that we may get a lot of grant requests or we may get just a few, we want it to be extremely flexible. I would imagine that if somebody submitted a lot of requests and somebody didn't, then that could be taken into account in the review of the grants that are submitted. But we will certainly monitor that and report back to this board probably at every meeting or most meetings, what kind of applicants we've received. And ultimately, if it requires further monitoring or further clarifications in the program, we would certainly bring that forward to the board. But for now, there's no limit to the number of applications that may be submitted, and staff can take this into consideration during the review process. Also, the comment was to include more guidance for the applicants. Basically, so we've added more details in how to submit your grant, where to send it and such. Also, it was further back in the document, so we've moved the what to do to submit a grant information to the front of the program, so it's more readily readable and seeable. The third comment was to include the impact on diversity, equity, and inclusion within the impact and community benefit within the rubric for scoring. And what we've done is we've updated the rubric. We've added item I, and item I specifically includes in the community benefit portion of the rubric points that you would get for diversity, equity, inclusion, et cetera. So that is part of the program now, and it was a good comment from last time. Fourth comment was to allocate separate specific amounts for grants and for scholarships. Thought this was a very good idea. So in fact, and rather than put amounts in the program, because the program exists and the money amounts could change each year, but the program was updated to basically identify that in the budget every year, this commission board will allocate a certain amount of money to the grant program and a certain amount of money to the scholarship program. And actually, in this year's budget, we're recommending $200,000 for the grant program, which is consistent with the $200,000 that had already been discussed, and $50,000 for the scholarship program. And in future years, if the board wishes to allocate more or less, it's free to do so, and then the program doesn't have to change, just the budget does. So with that, those are the items that we addressed. Included in the packet today is the updated grant program. Certainly, we can answer any questions you have. If you have more feedback, we'll take that in too. In the meantime, we are recommending that you adopt the resolution to approve the program, and with that, we would implement that program. The first cutoff, we're hoping, will be November 1st. So about a month after our next meeting, the first cutoff will happen. And as of this time, I think we have two cutoffs in the year. It's November 1st and I think February 1st? February 1st. Okay. So with that, we recommend that you adopt the resolution, and I can certainly answer any questions that you might have.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Davison. We have no members of the public signed up, correct?
No members of the public.
Okay, fantastic. Commissioners, questions? All right, Commissioner Hackett-Little.
And thank you so much. Not necessarily any questions, but just want to thank you guys for your work on this particular program and just highlight some of the significance of it, which is truly just a crucial investment in our region's creative sector, really in fostering that community engagement, educational opportunities, and cultural exchange as well, and especially the impact of the creative growth of our region as well through this grant initiative, through supporting a range of diverse services and programs and contributing again, to the expansion of our creative industries. I really also enjoyed learning more about the addressing the member agency needs, which I think is a notable strength of this particular grant program, facilitating effective communication and collaboration, and also just an overall positive outlook. I'm really enthusiastic about this initiative, and especially the inclusion of DEI impact, and the community benefit is truly a meaningful step forward in fostering a vibrant and sustainable creative ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Nava?
Yes, thank you. Just real quick, thank you, Bob. It sounds like you and staff have made it pretty flexible. As we know, when you start a new grant program, it's hard to say how many will apply, what they'll look like, how it goes. So in a number of grant programs that a number of us have been involved in, it changes every year. We're finding better ways, ways to make it more efficient. So I appreciate flexibility in the first couple rounds to see if we can tighten up things as applications come in and as the process proceeds. So with that, I'm happy to move the item if no one has questions.
I think we have 2 more questions, actually, but we'll still take the motion.
Excellent.
That's fine. We'll take the motion. All right. And so, Commissioner Pulapati.
How is this grant program being promoted?
So that's a good question, and that's something that we certainly need to take and deliver. But the way we plan to promote it is through, we can promote it on our channel, bulletin boards and such. We will also, one of the things that's come up, and I was going to talk about in staff status, is that we're trying to improve our communication to member agencies. I think as part of that communication to member agencies, I are working on a newsletter, and I think this could be part of that newsletter. Also, to the channel licensees that work with us, they have broad outreach to different groups. Also, some of the channel licensees like Access Sacramento, they have many clients that actually there could be some synergy between what they're doing over at Access Sacramento and maybe what they could utilize grant funding for. So we, definitely we plan to as many vehicles as we can to advertise this and let people know about it. So it's truly not one of those programs that gets approved and nobody uses it. I think your question is well taken, and we'll do our best to use the resources we have to make sure that it's known that these grant funding is available, including through SCCC and the schools. There are probably many students that use SIVA labs that might have a good synergy with the grant or scholarships that are being proposed here.
Thank you, and let us know what we can do in that respect.
Oh, absolutely. I can certainly think that communication with all of your offices can be of help here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Chalam-Churla.
Mr. Chair, it's the same question I had, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much then. So I have a first from Commissioner Nava.
Second.
Second from Riley? Second from Riley. All those in favor, please vote. Even if you're not in favor, please vote. I assume everybody's in favor. Okay, fantastic. And it passes. All right, and so we are now on to the big show for the day. Well, the second big show. Liz was the first big show, but
Liz is the big show today.
It is the big show. So your item number 8 is to approve the fiscal year 2024-25 general fund and PEG fee fund preliminary budgets to include several of the following resolutions, attachments, and exhibits.
Okay, good afternoon again. I don't think I need to say my name anymore, but I'm here to present the annual budget, and as typically as we do, it's a voluminous thing to present, and the best way to go through it is with a PowerPoint presentation. So, with that, I do have a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll get right into it. So we are here to present the fiscal year 24-25 preliminary budgets. As I think you all know, we have a general fund, which the number of that fund is 94A. So a lot of us just refer to it as 94A, and we know what we're talking about. And the PEG fee fund, which is 94B. And with that, so this exhibit is a pie chart, basically showing the total expenditures that we're proposing from this general fund. I'm going to quickly go through this pie chart. It just kind of shows the whole deal, but then in the next several slides, we'll be going through several of these components. So with that, this shows, first of all, the biggest piece of the pie is wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Is a $6.7 million revenue distribution. And additional expenditures, and if I didn't say, it's a total of basically $12.5 million of expenditures that we have proposed in the budget this year. Salaries and benefits is $1.9 million. Services and supplies is $1.1 million. Channel licensee funding is $1.9 million also. The contract services, which includes things like the county's cost allocated costs that we pay. The Atrium 916 contract, which wasn't on today's agenda, but we've discussed it at many meetings in the past, and the community grant program that we discussed today is funded under the contract services section. And then other charges is $664,000. This includes a proposed $600,000 that's going to go into the reserve, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But so with that, that's pretty much everything that we're spending or proposing to spend this year. How is that funded? Mainly by franchise fees, but it's again we need $12.5 million in funding, and $10.3 million is from projected franchise fee revenue. I'll be talking later about the trend of franchise fees because it's going down a little bit. You probably all noticed that. So we have a chart later on where we talk about that. And then $10,000 of miscellaneous revenue, which is, I think, interest and the money we get from the fees that we charge to the 4 agencies that meet outside the board chambers. And then also $2.1 million is the carry forward from the previous budget year. So with that, I think that's everything I wanted to cover here. So again, $12.5 million in expenditures, and again, to be funded by $12.5 million of revenue. Okay, so we go through this component by component, and the first component is administration and regulation. The administration arm of the commission is it's the admin group. Jillian, who's right here, Jillian Myers, runs that group, and they do a great job in keeping the commission running. So what they do is we administer the cable television state franchises in Sacramento. Which I think we have 3 now, and unfortunately, we're going to lose one of those franchises this year, and we've talked about that in the past. But Consolidated will no longer be providing a service that requires them to pay franchise fees. So after this year, we'll have 2 franchises. They also assist consumers in resolving cable complaints and concerns. And I know we've talked about it with, making ourselves more known to the member agencies. Member agencies don't need to deal with cable stuff. If things happen, complaints happen, they come to your offices or other offices of the cities and the county, they can be directed to the Cable Commission. We have customer people dedicated in the companies that deal with our staff, and I think virtually every complaint that comes in does get resolved. Operating Metro 14, which we're on right now, so I think you all know what that is, the local government channel. Supporting community program, this board knows, of course, but a lot of people watching don't realize that there's 6 other channels. Of course, maybe they know from today we have an educational channel because of Liz Rhodes, but we have 2 educational channels administered by SECC. We have a public television education station, KVIE Channel 7, in addition to their Channel 6. And we have 2 public access channels. In a program by Access Sacramento, and we have, which we talked about today, Sac Life TV and the religious education channel. And also the collection and the distribution of the franchise fee, which will be going over the distribution that will happen this year and the distribution proposed for next year in a minute. And then also the collection and the distribution of the PEG fee revenue, which we'll also cover in a bit. Admin staff includes me, the part-time executive director, the ASO3, who I just introduced, and it's filled right now. She's interim ASO3. So that's actually left her administrative services specialist confidential vacant. We also have administrative services officer 1 and a senior office assistant. Some proposed changes. It's been coming back here, trying to garner things through and such. Admin's been doing great. But one thing I'd say, they work hard, and there's a lot of work, and they're doing it. Especially with one unfilled position right now because of the situation with the ASO3 being interim. We could use more staff. So we are proposing an additional senior office assistant. That person can help with the community grant program, the fee increase we're working on, and also all other admin aspects of the commission that we need admin help on. So we are recommending that position. Also, too, and this is by far from a done deal, but I do want to get approval to do this, is the past ASO3 who retired about a year ago, I think. I've had some discussions with her about her potentially coming back and providing some help. No, there's no agreement there or anything, but I do want to get approval to do so because I think it would, especially in a time where we can use extra help, and there's someone out there that knows the inner workings of the commission and has been doing admin work for the commission for many, many years. We want to see if we can make use of that expertise. So we are recommending funding and a resolution that will allow us to bring in the past ASO3 as a retired annuitant, and she could be helping with training, continuity, special projects, and I think many things that we could use some help in. So those are the two staffing changes, that recommended changes that we're making. Oh, and by the way, feel free to ask me questions as I go through this. I mean, you don't have to wait to the end. I'm not asking for your questions, but if you have any, go ahead and stop me. This is just some of the highlights of the administration and regulation component. Salaries and wages is $1.8 million. That's including a 3.3% COLA, which is consistent with the policy that basically whatever COLA the general county employee gets, the cable commission employees get. And this year that happens to be 3.3%. We have $125,000 allocated for closed captioning. $75,000 for the county DTEC and IT services. $275,000 for legal counsel. Other professional services, $285,000. And Jillian, is that where the audit is? Is that our audit, the $285,000?
The $285,000?
Yeah, okay. That's where commission audits are, consultants, our OPEB consultant that helps us keep us in tune and correctly reacting to the GASP rules that come forward. They're an actuary. And then also we have an accountant that helps keeps our books correct. So those types of services are there. We do have, and I mentioned this before, $600,000 to go into the reserve. This $600,000 was actually approved last year. The previous executive director, she brought a policy forward to basically set a new reserve target of about $2.2 million and to allocate $600,000 to the reserve. The only thing is the budget didn't. I don't know the technicality, but for some reason the budget didn't exactly include that item to the point where the county staff that would be taking the commission funds and moving it over to the reserve, that they would actually have the direction to do that. The way the budget's before you today, if your board approves this budget, they will get that direction. And so the $600,000 that was already approved last year by this commission we're recommending it again, and hopefully we can make sure it moves to the proper reserve fund this year. It actually flowed over into this year in our higher than normal carry forward fund balance. So that would bring the reserve up to $2.2 million, which is consistent with that updated policy.
I'm sure Mr. Nelson put on there specifically the legal things that need to happen for it to move this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I have one quick question, though. When do we use that money?
Well, it's not money that it's necessarily that we have a plan to use, but it's money that we can use. For example, if we had an abrupt change in franchise fees, we could use that money to run the commission for a little bit, you know. It's not, it's not stored for, just for spending so, but if to the point where we needed funding for commission operations and we didn't have that funding, then it's a source that we can make use for. Or if mid-year there was a large, maybe we were facing with a very large change in expenses that we didn't know about, or we didn't. Hopefully we budgeted for it appropriately, but if we didn't have enough in the budget to cover something, the reserve could be utilized for that. But for the most part, I was executive director for 16 years, and I don't think we touched the reserve once other than putting money into it.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm asking that question, because the way our financial structure is, we have the money, we have the expenditure, whatever is the leftover, we are giving it to our agencies, our partners. Right? So there is no dip. Unlike the cities, if the city revenue is not coming because of the COVID, we went down. And that time we were using our reserves. That's the only reason I was trying to put myself on what scenarios we are going to touch that dollar, that $2.2 million. That's the one. I just want to understand conceptually.
Right. And I think that would either come from a recommendation from staff to the board or a direction from the board to staff to bring back.
Got it.
And
it wouldn't get spent without this board's knowledge or approval.
Right. And to that, I appreciate what you were saying, is because I think we need to determine a policy that sets the appropriate threshold, right? In a business world, we say we need to have, maybe 6 months worth of operating funds, right? Mm-hmm. So let's come back with perhaps a policy direction on where we would like to have that number set.
Yeah, and I think there was, and there's a previous staff report, it was a previous executive director. Do you want to?
Yeah, there was a policy update brought back last fiscal year on this. Julian, do you have the specifics? I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yes.
Okay.
It was in June of last year that the policy was brought, and it is the $2.2 million is equal to 6 months operating expenses. The 6 months is what the policy establishes.
Perfect. Then forget what I asked.
Yes.
Thank you. Please, Mr. Davidson.
We're just really good at bringing stuff back to you. So.
There you go.
Okay. Anyway, community grant program and the SAG Life TV funding were already talked about in today's agenda, and that is showing you where those expenditures are in the budget. So that's component one. That's what the admin does. I want to thank our admin staff again. Without them, the commission doesn't go forward, and they are awesome. And so is our Metro Cable 14 staff. Metro Cable is responsible for cable casting local government meetings on Metro Cable 14, obviously. Provides gavel-to-gavel coverage, not just this meeting and not just city council meetings, but many meetings held by the commission, its 7 member agencies, and 15 other agencies, which I'm not going to name, but we can try to name them if anybody wants us to. The Metro Cable staff is also, they provide assistance to the member agencies, one with their equipment maintenance, their testing, quality oversight, and basically control room, chambers, issues. Metro Cable staff is on hand and is a partner with all the member agencies in keeping this public access to government meetings going. And also, they work closely with member agencies in annual recommendations of PEG equipment and upgrades to council chambers and control rooms, which will also, when we get to the PEG component of the budget, we'll talk a little bit about those. Metro Cable staff, our production director, Kristen Riggs. I'm not going to mention everybody, but most of our staff is here. So actually, staff, why don't you all stand up? Come on, everybody who's Metro Cable staff and an admin staff, stand up. So anyway, they do the work. I sit in the chair, they do the work. No, we appreciate the work that everybody does. But we have a production director, a technical coordinator, a programming coordinator, a multimedia technician, and We actually have a part-time production assistants. It says 11, we have 8 now, and we are actually recruiting for 3 more. So after we do the recruitment for the 3 more, we'll have 11 production assistants. Here's just some meeting and captioning statistics for the year. I wrote some other stats down here, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, 336 meetings, 732 hours. And then we captioned 292 of those meetings, 632 hours. We capture virtually every meeting except for there's about 3 agencies that we don't have the physical ability to caption them. I think it's SAC Schools, SMUD, and SAC Fire.
Actually, we do SMUD. It's schools and fire that we do not caption right now.
Okay. Well, thank you. Should have punted that one to her. So with that, 88% of our meetings are captioned. We're pretty proud of that. This board a long time ago directed that there's a time where meetings weren't captioned, and the board directed that we caption, and we caption soon, like tomorrow. And back then, staff did a great job in Metro Cable and admin staff in responding to that captioning. And it's a yearly process now, and everybody's pretty good at it. We have a consultant, Aberdeen, that many years ago we changed to Aberdeen, and the quality of our captioning went up. And so that's been a success story for the commission. One thing about these meeting stats, the number of meetings is going down a little bit. I don't know, maybe coming out of COVID, maybe there's a little bit less meetings. You can see in 21 we had 369 meetings, 22 we had 388 meetings, and only 336 this year. The meeting length is getting a little shorter too. In 2021, the average meeting length was 2.5 hours. And in 2022, actually 2022 and 2023, virtually the same at about 2.18 hours per meeting. So I don't know if you needed all those stats about meetings, but there you go anyway.
Politicians are talking less?
I don't, Kristen, do you have any ideas on why we have less meetings?
That was a joke.
Or
it's okay.
Lower hours?
That was humor.
So,
or an attempt at humor. My apologies.
So that brings us to the next component, which is community program. We've talked a lot about community program already with the SECC and SAC Life discussions that we've had today. First of all, but the general funding is provided to an operations base. And the operations base is the kind of the money that the channel licensees can count on. We have a policy that, assuming things aren't going with our budget that are different than what we've typically been seeing, the base is something that they can count on. And we actually have a call-up policy where we say that you're going to get the base funding, and then at least a staff recommendation coming in would be with a COLA, the same COLA that staff gets. And then there's an additional COLA, and we call it the channel licensee COLA. And that channel licensee COLA was developed based on this board's direction several years ago. And I have a slide. The next slide actually is going to explain that a little bit. But with that, so for this year, we are proposing a 4.8% COLA for channel licensees. And that includes a 3% COLA based on the general COLA, just like staff got. And then a 1.5% channel licensee COLA, which I'm going to explain in a second. And we are deviating from a policy that we have right now. The policy says that a channel licensee COLA that the staff will bring in will be the general county COLA approved each fiscal year for the commission positions, plus, and it's minimum wage adjustments and payroll cost adjustments that basically are faced by channel licensees. So let me go to the next slide. So we are actually recommending a permanent change to this policy. Many years ago, Access Sacramento came in. They said, because of the minimum wage increases were driving costs that they, had to incur, and that there's associated payroll costs with that. We developed a very, very complex, because it was very difficult to calculate every year, channel licensee COLA that would go on top of the regular COLA. And the thing is, things have changed over the years. I think the need is still there for this channel licensee COLA, but I think we are suggesting changing the COLA policy to make it a little bit easier and also to recognize certain things. So we are recommending for this year a flat 1.5% year COLA for this year and for future years. One, Access Sacramento no longer has minimum wage employees. They still have employees, they still get increases and such, but they're driven by different things other than minimum wage policy. But they have no minimum wage employees. And it used to be a fairly difficult process to work with Access Sacramento to get their listing of minimum wage employees, to count this all up, and ultimately figure out what this channel licensee COLA should be. The historical range of this COLA was anywhere from 0.89% to 2.52%. So we're just kind of coming in the middle, or maybe a little bit higher than mid-range of that, and that's where the 1.5% recommendation comes from. But we did pay those COLAs from fiscal years 18, 19 through 2023. Not including 22, 24, that should be, say, does not include 22, 23, where we came in with an across-the-board recommendation for staff and channel licensees of 10%, which the board did approve that year. And so we didn't count that into looking at revising this policy. So with that, if your board approves everything as presented today, staff will be returning to the board in September 2024 with a permanent update to the channel licensee COLA policy to reflect this change.
So let me ask a question right here then. So this budget, however, does include the 1.5 COLA.
It does.
However, in September 24, you will be bringing back a resolution to standardize that going forward, so it's not part of the question.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so like today we're diverting from that policy, and honestly we couldn't even calculate it today because they don't have minimum wage employees. So with that policy we don't even know what to do. So it needs to be updated, and this is how we're recommending to update it.
Perfect, thank you.
So this just goes through the operation
Real
base.
quick,
I'm not going to...
Bob, real quick, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Oh, no problem. Don't worry
Throwing
about it
something
at
at me.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Would it be possible, I know you have different bargaining groups in the county and things like that, but to tie that to like a county position COLA that would be equivalent, maybe, the clerk staff or something like that? So that way you guys don't have to do all the calculations, but if we do get in a situation, like we saw when we had to do the kind of big COLA increase because you had the big increases of cost of living, that we might still keep up with that movement rather than have it be kind of at 1.5 while cost of living, maybe jumps for whatever reason if we see, another inflation rise in a couple of years or something like that.
So, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
I was done.
No, you bring up a good question. I got to tell you, when we got the direction to do this channel licensee policy a few years ago, I remember researching, looking at cost of living, and they were looking at different indexes at different agencies, and it was actually hard to find the right one. First thing, it's kind of, so first of all, there is a staff COLA it's tied to. So the first thing they get is, this year they get 3.3%, and that's the same COLA as staff, okay? So if staff got 5%, channel licensees get 5%. If staff got 2%, channel licensees get 2%. The extra 1.5% is to kind of, for maybe cost increases outside of normal and payroll costs. And it fluctuates so weirdly every year. That's why I came into the 1.5. I don't, having researched it before, I don't think you're going to find the magic solution, this is the thing to tie it to. I think maybe it's something that we can look at each year. In other words, there could be other factors. We could have communication with the channel licensees in regards to how things are and such. But for the most part, I think this is the best we can do now. We can continue to monitor this, but for now, I honestly don't know a better way.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
So with that, this is just a funding picture for the channel licensees. Access Sacramento, and they have operations base, hometown TV, and the game of the week. Their allocation is $843,000. Capital Public Radio, who they've traditionally been tied to the commission. They're not officially a channel licensees, but they've gotten funding from this commission virtually every year, and so we bring them along as well. And so their operations base, $30,000. We put Capital Public Radio PEG funding in the general fund only because there's questions about whether it's PEG eligible. And you know, with that, the commission board has traditionally given them amounts for equipment each year, but at one time, I think their stream was played on the PEG channels, and so there was a connection there. There's more challenges these days to playing their stream on PEG channels, so we feel safer by putting that allocation in the general fund. And then let's see, and then KVIE, $333,000 operation base for this year. And then SECC with their operations base, their staffing base on top of that, and then BestNet operation base, $617,000, all for a total of about $1.8 million or so. This slide's all about Sac Life TV. Since we had that board item, I don't think I need to go into these bullets in detail, so you all know this by now. But with that, we do have $70,000 in the budget for non-sectarian programming for Sac Life TV. And with that, we get to the revenue distribution part. The fiscal, first of all, it's the policy. It even goes back to the JPA agreement and such. The 2023-24 revenue distribution will be $6 million, and is to be paid at the end of June. This is the same amount that was budgeted. So typically, if we take in more franchise fee than we budgeted, we typically take the difference and add that to the distribution amount. And this year, we actually got less than what was budgeted for. The revenue was $454,000 lower than what was budgeted for. So, I mean, theoretically, well, we can lower the revenue distribution. We actually did have a lot of carryover funds from last year to this year. There's flexibility in this budget, and so I certainly don't recommend cutting the member agency distribution from 23-24. And so we're recommending maintaining the $6 million that was in the budget. It gets allocated a little differently because of population, because we actually distribute this based on the most recent population figures, but it doesn't fluctuate much from what was included in the budget. And I think we're going to show that in a second. And then the proposed revenue distribution for 24-25, which will be paid in June 2025, we're proposing $6.7 million. So actually $700,000 higher than what was budgeted this year. And this just shows the numbers for each of the agencies. I don't need to read them separately. I won't go through them, but you could see the 2023 distribution. We're maintaining the $6 million that was in the budget. I always like to distribute more, so I'm sorry we couldn't do that this year. Hopefully, we'll see a change in the trend, a flattening of the trend, and you know, maybe we'll have more than we're budgeting next year. And next year's allocation is $6.7 million. And you can see the differences in the 23-24 between what was in the budget and what's going out actually, and that's based on, like I said, the population shifting a little bit. So things are just a little bit higher in some to some of the agencies and lower to some of the others. Okay. Now we come to the franchise fee trend. This is something that we watched because we've already talked a lot about the funding, and the commission isn't here, and a lot of what we're doing may be funded elsewhere if it wasn't for the franchise fee revenue and the PEG fee revenue that we get. Franchise fees is based on 5% of gross revenues from cable companies that use the rights of way to provide their services. The PEG fee, ever since DIFCA, we didn't have the PEG fee before 2006, but when state law was updated to allow for a PEG fee, then we implemented a 1% PEG fee. And the PEG fee mirrors the revenue that we get from the franchise fee because it's all on percent of gross revenues, and it's the same gross revenues. So we don't need to show you a PEG fee chart to show you what's happening with the franchise fee revenue and the PEG fee revenue. But anyway, here's the year-to-year revenue that we're receiving from cable companies. And you can see it peaked in 15-16 at about $14.33 million. And it was flat for a little bit and then started to decline. A lot of the decline has been due to many years ago, AT&T. We still get franchise fee from AT&T, but I don't know if it's fair to say they abandoned their UVerse product, but their product that they use to provide the service that uses the rights of way, they don't promote it as much as they do over the top internet provision, which doesn't pay franchise fee. So we've seen a kind of a reduction, a dwindling of the AT&T revenue each year. And unfortunately, because the third cable company, Consolidated Communications, they've been a great partner to the commission. Going back to the days of the commission where this was a commission that wanted competition and sought out cable companies to come in and provide the competition, so we didn't just have one cable company in town. We had Sure West, and Sure West later became Consolidated, and so they are though abandoning their product for over-the-top internet-provided services, and no longer will have a cable franchise after, I think, this June, as of now. So we will see a drop-off of their franchise fees, and that'll affect us by about $300,000 to $350,000 or so. So when they're completely gone, they weren't paying franchise fees nearly to the level Comcast, for example, was paying franchise fees, but we are dealing with reduction in revenue to them. But there's one other thing I do want to mention, just because we do watch trends, is we have seen a reduction in the Comcast revenue over the last 7 quarters or so. And that reduction has been anywhere from about 3% to 8% or so. So we want to continue to watch that to see if that's an ongoing trend. I did reach out to Comcast staff to see if I can get a response yet. I didn't get a response yet. I mean, I think they'll provide one, if they have one. We did talk about, I think we had requests for Comcast representatives to maybe appear here at these meetings. And so Jillian and I did meet with Comcast staff and asked, invited them to come to meetings. And I believe that they do want to come to future meetings. They were not able to come to this one. I specifically asked them to come to this one, but maybe the request came in too late. But I believe that they will be coming into future meetings. I also talked to, what's Amy's last name, Jillian, do you know?
Amy Day.
Amy Day. She's a government affairs person for Comcast. Some of your offices, may know her. Phil Arndt used to, for many, many years was a government affairs person, and I'm sure most of you would know Phil. So she's basically taken over for Phil. Phil was a fixture at many of these meetings, and when Comcast said something they wanted to talk about, Phil would certainly come to this commission and provide that information. So anyway, I have requested that they respond. I also reached out to our auditor, who's actually auditing Comcast, just to see if there's any trend that we should know about. And I think she did say that it's likely a reduction in franchise fee revenue due to cord cutting. Hopefully it's not a continued trend, but it's something we will watch. And with that?
Quick question. Hopefully it's a quick question. Last year, the FCC was putting forward some regulation relative to the over-the-top or the cord-cutting franchise fees. Or do you know if that had any forward motion? Are you,
Josh?
Not that I'm aware of, unfortunately. Right. But at some point, when over-the-top is a complete transition, you would hope that the legislature or Congress would look at that as a potential solution.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Please, Mr. Davidson.
So anyway, that it's good that we still have significant franchise fee coming in. And I don't think anybody likes to see a trend going down, and that's what we have, and we will continue to watch that and report to your board, especially if anything alarming happens. We'll let you know. So with that, that's the general fund, and the rest of this presentation will be the 94B, the PEG fee fund. Unless there's any other questions on the general fund, I'll move on to the PEG fee fund. So here's the same pie chart.
I'm sorry, we do have
I do have a question. Earlier
sure.
on, it was on, I think, Committee 2 or something, with respect to closed captioning, and you're still paying an agency for closed captioning, given that with the latest entrant of AI and lots of tools have free closed captionings in multiple languages, is that not something that we're going to leverage anytime soon?
It's very possible. Kristen Riggs, who's our production director, well, let me see. Kristen, would you like to answer that?
Sure, I think I understand. You're asking whether or not we might transition to more AI captioning versus live captioning and other captioning services, translation services?
Yes, and the free services.
We haven't had any specific requests for language translation. It's something that it's possible. We only have 2 channels that we can put either captioning and a translation on, so I believe that's technically possible. We currently have the approval of the board to do live captioning, and we would need feedback about whether we could transition moving toward less expensive captioning, whether it's acceptable to have quality that might not be as good as live captioning that we have now with our contracted agency. So we're looking into that type of thing, but we are definitely seeing what our options are for doing those things. We have not gotten any direct requests for translation services, but it is possible to get transcripts that are translated. Definitely. I'm not sure about live meetings having both of those at this time, though.
So are you speaking more to live meetings and just captioning with AI and auto captioning versus translation services and other things?
So with respect to live meetings, is that also where you're giving it out to agencies? Because live meetings, I'm pretty sure they have auto captioning with any of the latest AI-generated tools. With the translation, I'm not aware of that, so I'll put that as part B. But
yeah, so there is technology in auto captioning, and between expense and how good the product is, I don't think we're there, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to come in next year with the auto captioning and it'll be in 6 months. But Metro Cable, they're always going to trade shows. They're always working on it. We've talked about bringing in an auto captioning component. Like, for example, there are some of the meetings that we don't caption. Maybe we can run it through the auto captioner, and the reruns of those meetings could be captioned, for example. So we've talked about auto captioning for many, many years. I don't know if it's gotten to the level where, how good the quality is versus what we do now. I was actually watching the Rolling Stones on YouTube last night, and I ran the captions, and it was pretty different what was in the captioning versus what Mick Jagger was saying. I'm not saying that means, that auto captioning is not good, but it is something that staff does review and does go to trade shows about. And there could be a day where we do a morphing with captioning, auto captioning, or maybe we'll do some trials with some captioning to, get some products in, and like I say, do the meetings that don't have captions. So it's an ongoing process. But I don't think we're at the point where, tomorrow auto captioning. But it's any technology that's out there is always an option, and Metro Cable staff does a good job of keeping up to date on the latest technology.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about the Mick Jagger reference.
Not a problem. I would hate to see what auto captioning might bring up for him. So for the PEG fee revenue, we have $5 million in total, $5.1 million in total expenditures, and the proposal is so between member agencies, channel licensees, one time, because we have a couple of categories, Metro Cable 14, Cable Commission admin, and then also putting a little money into reserve. That is how we plan to spend the PEG money. You can see that the member agency PEG is
pretty big, $3 million. One thing that I can say about the PEG fund is it's been especially an issue since COVID and since supply line issues were an issue, is there are a lot of carry forwards, not just of the money from year to year, but also the projects from year to year. We would like to, it would be clean if we can, have the grant request, have the projects constructed and all built by the end of the year, and that there's no flow over into the next year. But we're seeing the absolute opposite of that. I think it's getting a little bit better, but during COVID, it was not. So with that, there's a significant amount of carry forward, but with that carry forward there's still the need for the money. It's not like the need went away, it's just that many projects got delayed. So with that, the budget is based on 1.85 of new revenue, and that's what you can see is 1.85 in new revenue, but expenditures of $5 million, and the main reason for that difference is that carry forward. And it's a $3.2 million in carry forward from the fiscal year 23-24, and I already talked about the supply chain issues, and there's a $1.148 million balance in our PEG reserve fund, and staff's recommending an additional $250,000 be added to that reserve. So the PEG part was a lot shorter, but with that, staff recommends the board approve the 24-25 preliminary general fund budget, the 24-25 preliminary PEG fee fund budget, including all resolutions, attachments, exhibits, and agreements included in the fiscal year 24-25 preliminary budget staff report. Again, thanks to staff, both Metro Cable staff and admin staff. Without them, it's getting this budget presented like this every year. It's really hard to do, and you have a lot of good people that are, putting the hours making this happen. And I just want them to know it's much appreciated. And with that, I'm hoping that me or my staff can could answer any other questions that you may have on this year's budget.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davison. Let me go out and see if we have some public comment.
No public comments.
We have no public comments. Thank you. So now we'll come back to the commission. Does anybody have something they need to say? Anything? If not, then I will. Oh, okay. Sounds good.
I'll make it fast.
Yep.
Mr. Davidson, I think since you have the clicker, if you don't mind to go to slide 5, sir.
5 what?
Slide 5.
5, okay.
5. Quickly. We can go there. So are we asking...
I can't, wait a minute. Sorry. I don't have my glasses. I can't see which is left. Slide 5. Oh.
It's about the
staffing. Out of the way there.
Okay. Can you give me the slide 5? Do you want to do it?
I think he has to do it with a different mouse.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I thought I could do it.
Not a problem.
I should have gone reverse, huh?
Oh, there we go.
Metro Cable, thank you.
Yeah.
I should have had my glasses on then. Could have done that.
Right. Adding an additional senior office assistant, is that additional or you're adjusting?
Actually adjusting because we have the position that Jillian holds, the specialist position, the confidential specialist position, is currently vacant. And she holds that position, so we can't fill that position. We could have asked for another of those positions and recruited for one of those, but I think the help we need is really an office assistant. So we have the need because we're down a position, but we would like to request the addition of the office assistant and not an additional specialist position.
So you have a vacancy right now, or she's sitting in
well, it's not a vacancy because if I filled it, and she would not have a job to bounce back for if she, for some reason, was not still the interim ASO3.
Got it.
So I need to keep that position, but I need to keep that position unfilled.
Right.
And we're not funding it in the budget, or are we?
We are.
Okay. Sorry.
So it's going forward. It's going to be a permanent position. We are adding as an office assistant. Is that right to say in the admin division?
Yeah.
Right, good. I know we talked about the main mission and the vision of our commission. Reaching out to the residents and asking what challenges they are facing with the cables or whatever it is related to ours. I know the outreach, that's what I think Siri was asking the question, the outreach side, you and I talked also in the past. So will this position will be a help to reach the agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the items that person will be working on will be the materials that outreach materials that we're creating. In addition to what the person will not be doing is like working at Metro Cable, for example. There's a lot of emphasis on our staff that will be working on this item. But as far as communication to member agencies, newsletters and such, I think absolutely this person is going to be able to help us on that.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Chait, the point I'm making here, especially the senior community, when they're struggling with these cable issues and working with our Comcast and all those. Comcast is great, but sometimes they can't get the solution, and we are here to help that community. At least broadcasting that community, we are here for you, this channel in existence for you. Come and share your challenges, we will be a help. So that message has to go. I was asking in City of Folsom, some of the senior homes, they have no clue about us. Right? That's one. And also on the Christine side, we are adding 3 more
production assistants?
Production assistants. I know we talked about, let's see whether Channel 14 can be the one-stop shop for our region, so that when, I can take an example of City of Folsom. We have a school board meetings, has a no touch with the cable 14, and the school board meetings there on the YouTube. So my goal is, again, Christine, it is in your area, whether this commission can help to channel at least this majority of the boards and commissions to come to one-stop shop. That way they can turn on after their dinner, Channel 14, rather than asking. I know we talked on last year also on that one. Is these 3 new positions are going to be any help?
Yeah, to the extent that we have meetings and more meetings, the 3 production assistants will be of a help. I've addressed over the years the issues of, will more people come to Metro Cable? Sometimes somebody wants to, and sometimes, they prefer just to be on YouTube or something, and they don't want to be on Metro Cable. But, we have many entities that are on there. I know we've vetted school districts before. I can't remember all the reasons why. I mean, we couldn't just say, let's do all the school districts, because I don't think we would have the hours on Metro Cable. But, we might have capacity for more, just, to the extent that we open up the floodgates, we would eventually reach capacity issues. We would have to look at our replay policy and also, bartering the live versus the recorded meetings and such. But I think we can always vet expanding. I don't know that I think that there's a bunch of entities out there that will want to come forward. Kristen, do you want to add anything to this?
I don't really have anything to add about getting more agencies on. We can find places to do replays. As far as the 3 extra PAs, it's more about currently just covering the shifts that we have. If someone calls in sick, we don't always have a PA to call on. So and all their schedules are varied because they are part-time employees. So it's more about just being able to cover every shift with a production assistant.
Right, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. In fact, I was talking to my city firefighters also on the same subject. But just take a look at, this is my request though, if we have some bandwidth in our channel, and if there are some important meetings we want to cover, especially the hot school districts, Elk Grove, Folsom, Unified, So I highly recommend, opening up the doors. I'm not talking all the school districts in our county region.
And I know we have talked to Folsom Cordova before. It was many years ago, so I can't even say that it's the current people that are working there now. But we are always open to talking to entities about the viability of them being on Metro Cable.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
My last one, Mr. Chair, on the COLA, slide 14, please. And it's an addition to the regular COLA we are having.
Would you mind if I ask a quick question on slide 5?
Yes.
Can I jump
please.
in here?
Oh, please.
A couple questions or point. Do we have a plan? And we don't need to go back to the slide, but just while we're on the personnel subject, we're fine. Do we have a plan, hopefully, to get that ASO3 position permanent? And then for the retired annuitant position, were you envisioning that part-time, full-time? Was that going to be kind of temporary? Did you have like a time frame you envisioned for the retired annuitant? Or
I would like to make that happen. If she's interested, I'd like to make that happen as soon as possible. I can't tell you whether that will work out or not. But as a retired annuitant, there's a limit to the number of hours, and it's like 960 hours or something like that. At this time, I don't have a plan for the ASO3, but it's something that I think we're discussing. So I would like to develop that plan.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
And slide 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 14, last one, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'll make
14.
it fast.
No worries.
I'll make it fast.
Okay.
14. 1.5. I just want to hear my colleagues, thoughts also. We, for the PEG channel, that 1.5 is in addition to whatever county agrees as a COLA. So it's not just that 1.5 we are giving it to PEG channel. I think last year, we gave for some PEG channels almost 10%. Is that 1.5 on a broader range? I'm going to take an example of SECC. So if they are getting, because I know them, I love you guys as well, right? And of course, everybody as well, all the PEG channels. If we are giving them $850,000, for example, approximately ballpark, and they are already getting the whatever county agrees on the COLA, that is base, plus 1.5 on top of all the 850, their overall budget. Is that a bigger number, or we want to revisit and go by what is their expenditure uptick? Because they're already getting the COLA. If I don't know how the staffing works, again, Liz, in your 39 years, if a county employee is getting 3.35% COLA and our PEG channels are, I'm just making up here, 4.5, it's unfair in my mind, because this is coming, the money and funding is coming from here. But if they have expenditure on other places where we don't, I agree on those.
All right. So if the question's coming to me, I think staff's recommendation is appropriate. I think they've done their due diligence. They've been trying to work on the best way to go forward. And so, one thing on this component.
One thing I could add is the licensees will come forward and ask for things that they need if it's in addition to what's being proposed. We've seen that happen with SEC adding positions. We've seen that happen with Access Sacramento coming forward. And so they've had, but this is setting the policy for what we're going to bring back year after year. We want it to be healthy to provide the funding, but also, especially with declining revenues, we want it to be, I don't want it to be a big number.
Right.
Yeah, again, this board will have not just the flat 1.5. If they need more, for example,
if they need more, the board could decide to come up with a different number than what staff is recommending, for sure.
COVID time, we gave very generous because of the pains everybody has going through. So I just want to make sure those policies are adjustable based on the needs, because we do see our revenues are tanking.
They're absolutely adjustable based upon what this board decides to do. Absolutely.
Okay. Chair, that's all.
Oh, thank you very much. I see no one else on the commission requesting to speak. So with that, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the budget. Anyone?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Riley? I'll second. I have my back turned. Okay, all right. All right, so we have a motion and a second, so let's please vote. Yes. All right, and the budget passes. And so I should have said before I went on, thank you very much to staff. In many meetings I've had with Mr. Davison, he is always giving you the credit and the love for the work that you do, because we know that it can't be done without you, and a budget is the lifeblood of an organization, and so everything flows through that. And so thank you very much for working on this. It was a good job. Thank you. All righty. So we will now move on to the next item.
And so your item number 9 is to receive and file reports of channel licensees.
Okay. And so I have 3 speakers signed up for SECC. Is that right? And so I'm gonna make you go last, Liz. I'm gonna let you have the last word, unless you don't want that. We'll go with Miss Jessica Rhodes first. You want to go first? It's all you. You do.
Because it's a team show here.
Okay, you got it.
So yeah, first of all, thank you very much. We so much appreciate your continued funding and your support, especially when your revenues are decreasing. It's quite a change from the beginning, and you've continued to increase ours. So kind of what we want to share with you today is what that money has gone for and what we've done. We've had a really successful year. Following that, Jessica, who is our interim executive director when I leave, will tell you about what some of those ongoing projects look like. And then our chairperson, Peter Skibitzy, will talk to you a little bit about the whole process for my replacement. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at the successes that SECC, some of them. We'd be here for an hour and a half if we did them all. So just some of the successes that we've had. Well, yeah, let's play that tape, that program, that video, whatever.
Good evening, Siva. Are you ready? This year we had 500 entries with 49 schools, 1,500 student producers. That is amazing. Who's excited to get SIVA 2024 started? They are loud. I like it in here.
I'm excited to see the person that comes up to get their award because it's going to make me happy, but it's also going to make them happy too.
We fund SIVA from the commission, and we encourage youth, people like you, to get into the video and audio.
Well, it's all about the learning process. We don't always know how to create things, and so this process allows young folks to be able to learn how to create videos and do really cool things.
What awards did you win?
I won 2 SIVAs. I was nervous, but I knew that my friends had already done it, so I think that I was good. I didn't expect to win.
Didn't expect it at all?
No.
Can you guys believe we really made it?
I love you all 3,000, and I will never forget these years with you.
We look forward to what you work on as you pursue your dreams.
Last spring, we're given access to a SIVA mobile kit. So with that kit, we were able to live broadcast our 8th grade promotion ceremony. We're gonna say to the world, because I had people in the audience come up while we were getting ready and doing everything, saying that their family in the Philippines was watching us. And that was, of course, making me want to cry because it was amazing. What an opportunity. So a big shout out to SECC for putting that equipment into our hands and helping us when we needed help, and making that power of video the vision of that our students have to be out to the world. I mean, all the way to the Philippines. That's pretty amazing.
just to highlight a couple of things. I will say this is my favorite time of year. As you see, we have a lot of really amazing projects going on. Some of you were able to come to award night. Thank you so much for coming. We had some staff that showed up as well. It was an amazing opportunity to see the families and the students together. We have the whole, kindergartners that show up all the way through high school. Families are really excited. It's tremendous to hear the parents talk about the equipment that you're providing and that passion that's coming through their students. The students are showing up. They're excited to go to school because they want to go to their SEVA program. They want to use the equipment that your funds are providing. So that's incredible to see that and have that opportunity. We had over 1,000 attendees this year. So a lot of, the community came out, and it's all across Sacramento County. So that was tremendous. Like they said in the video, the graduations, our production team had to leave today. We are on our last one. We've done 41 total across the county. We help produce some of those, and a lot of people produce on their own as well. So again, a tremendous just to have, grandparents on the East Coast to get to watch their students graduate, that they can't be there in person. With COVID, a lot of people had to downsize the number of tickets that they can have. So those family members still get to see their kids graduate, and that's such a, tremendous opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime event. So to be able to program that on the channels and provide the equipment, as Karen mentioned, they have a backpack and they use that. They're a middle school. They use that to live stream their promotion at their school site. So the mobile backpacks have been awesome. We kind of have redone those until we got it right, and I think we're there. So we're really excited to provide those again next year to school sites to give those students the opportunity to live stream. And we have students that come into it and they're just looking to create videos, and they realize what they can do with that and where they can go. One of our hosts this year for award night is going down to LA. She just graduated from high school, and she has this opportunity of interviewing political officials on a red carpet. I mean, who can say that they've got to do that as a high school student? So thank you all for showing up and attending those events and giving those students those opportunity. And like Liz said, providing the funding for us to give those kids those video cameras and give them that passion that's going to help them not only show up to school, but show up in life. So thank you all. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. My name is Peter Skibitsky. I'm the Senior Director of Technology Services for the San Juan Unified School District. I am the incoming chair for the SECC board this year. As my predecessor found out, replacing Liz and someone of that stature is not an easy task, and now that has fallen to me. And so I wanted to provide the commission an update of where we're at with that. And so it's threefold. We wanted to make sure that we provided continuity of services provided by SECC. So we have appointed an interim director, which Jessica Rhodes is acting in that capacity as we go through our search and process. And then also we are contracting back with Liz on a contract basis to provide historical knowledge when needed. And so the second phase of that is we are going out and we are contracting with a private firm to do a salary survey on the position to make sure that we are compensating the next executive director of SECC appropriately. And so that is in the works currently. Yesterday at our board meeting, we approved a contract with compensation resources to conduct that process. It'll be very thorough. We'll be talking to both Jessica, Liz about the current roles and responsibilities, but also the staff involved at SECC as far as how they interact with them. And then we'll also be engaging with you at the Cable Commission as far as the interaction with the organization as well. And then thirdfold, we will then go out and do a regional search for the next executive director so that we can provide a fair and transparent process so that everyone has an equal opportunity to apply for the position and we get the best candidate moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you much, Liz. You got to have the last words. Thank you. Love you. Something like that.
Oh, of course I love you. You know that. Just awesome. That teamwork, that collaboration, it's what makes this all work. And I am just so thrilled for the funding for next year and moving forward and always taking those students to the next level. What is the next thing that they get to do? And those mobile backpacks and those mobile carts are absolutely phenomenal. And what we're seeing in terms of those students being able to reach out and live stream, not just on cable, but on YouTube and all the platforms is, oh, that is just so fantastic. And thank you. So keep it up. Remember, SECC is the most important of all the licensees. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, we'll let her get away with that one on this one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any other channel licensees? Come on down.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Duro, the Executive Director of Access Sacramento. And we've been really busy. First, we want to thank you for funding. We love the funding because we're doing amazing things with it. Not only do we do Game of the Week, of course, 2 seasons, but that's an economic engine to train community members to learn media skills. We have an education program. This is Christina Jeffers, who is our marketing representative. She deals with our internship program with colleges. We're all about education. We educate college interns because they don't get hands-on experience in college. We educate members of the community who can't afford to or don't have the time to participate in college-level courses. We do this all to lift the voices of our community. We believe that having a diversity of voices lifted up gives us the opportunity to have a healthier, more empathetic community. We're doing exciting things. Not only have we doubled our education program, we also are starting a new show, which is county-wide, called the County Edition. We hope that you'll consider being on the show. What we're talking about is governmental and non-governmental and community activists getting together and addressing issues that affect the community, meaning as a whole in the county. We are looking for members for our advisory board for this show, so if anybody's interested. We also have an open house on the 25th of July. We'd love to see you. It's a Thursday night. Come on over, and I think it's going to be 6 to 8 p.m. We also are busy this summer with a place called Sacramento, which is a year-round education program where we train people to be independent movie makers. And we're going to have our premiere. 10 scriptwriters have won the competition, and then we actually had 117 people come out to our cast and crew call to volunteer their labor to help produce the 10 movies that we're going to premiere on October 11th at the Crest Theater. So everyone becomes educated simply by the practice of volunteering to be on a production of a short film. So lots of exciting things happening. Christina, did you want to?
Hi, I'm Christina Jeffers. I just wanted to say thank you again for the funding. Every year we're just so happy with receiving the funds so that we can pour them into the community with our programs. I just wanted to share a little bit about our internship program. We have relationships now with every single college campus in the region. So that's the whole Los Rios, UC Davis, and Sac State. And we have a great relationship with their film teachers and departments. We're creating pipelines to jobs. So they'll come to us, we give them hands-on training, which they do not get at college. They get theory, they might get to do a prosumer camera or something like that. They don't get broadcast training. So they come to us, they get the hands-on, and then I'm writing their recommendation letters to go on to their next job. And I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing with our interns going through the program and moving forward. We've also developed relationships with Republic FC, with our Junior Reporters program and the Tower Youth. And we're moving youth through a program that they learn to be sports reporters. And they come through our Game of the Week and learn behind the scenes and everything as well, so that when they go out into the community after capturing Sac Republic SC, they can be hired at like Fox 40, CBS 13, because of their field experience that they're gaining with us. So what you are doing, you are funding incredible programs that are kind of like little unsung hero programs. The people that come to us aren't necessarily people that can afford like private school or go to Los Angeles. They're trying to exercise their passions here. And as you know, we have a robust film community here. The program with a place called Sacramento is so intense. They go from script to screen in a year. And if you know anything about filmmaking, that's a very tight window. And we make 10 films every year. We've been doing it for 24 years, and we hope to do it for many more. So I hope you join us at one of our red carpet premieres to see what we do hands-on, because it is really impactful to take just anybody from our community and say, yes, you can be a writer. Yes, you could be a director. Yes, you can have actors for your film. Yes, you can have a red carpet experience and win awards for your film. And from there, use it as a springboard to go international. Several of our PCS participants go on and win many awards nationally and internationally. So the things that you're doing with us are rippling around the planet. So thank you very much for all of your funding.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any other channel licensees? Everybody good? Okay, next we'll move on to item 10. I don't believe we have any of the state franchisees in the room?
We don't. And for the record, receive and file reports of state franchisees. And I don't know if there are any reports, additional reports, but there are none in the room or on the phone lines.
Okay, thank you.
Zoom.
And so then we will next move on to the executive director report.
Okay.
Mr. Davison, bring it home.
Bring it home. I will try to be as brief as possible.
All righty.
Let's see. Operations and personnel. Metro Cable, we already talked about recruiting for the 3 positions, so I don't think I need to talk too much more about that. There's 3 vacancies. The deadlines for applications is today, so hopefully we'll fill those 3 positions. The executive director recruitment is going on. We have the committee, and we've met a few times. The hope is that we implement a process and that we get candidates in the fall time frame. It would be nice to have them before the September meeting. Not a promise, but it would be nice.
We're pushing
it's a
for
goal.
it.
Yeah. Status of audits. The commission itself is being audited. The year 2021 Cable Commission audit and the 2021. We're being audited for that year, and that is finishing up, and I'm hoping that will be complete by September, as well as the cable company audits that Osbau and Skolko, our consultant, is currently undertaking for the cable companies. We've talked already a lot about the Cable Commission marketing outreach, the requests that have come from this board. We are working on the commission newsletter. And also, Metro Cable is working on public service announcements that are near completion, likely to be final before the September meeting, I'm thinking. So we have efforts going forward in that regard. And then at the next meeting, at the last meeting, we were directed to approach member agencies about proposed cable commission fees for the production of meetings, specifically the ones that aren't charged for right now, the non-member agency meetings that are that occur in the board chambers. And also the charges for the level of charging for the fees that we currently charge to the 4 entities not meeting in the board chambers. With that, we don't have a item for you today, but I am asking Kristen Riggs to give you an update on some of the feedback we've heard so far, and we will take this feedback and work on an item to bring back for the September meeting on a potential fee.
Okay.
Hi, Kristen Riggs, Production Director. I'll make it really brief for you. I proposed some options in March for increasing the fees. The first option is charge all non-member agencies the full price of broadcasting services. The second option was to charge all non-member agencies a partial cost. The third option, charge currently contracted non-member agencies an increased flat fee, so only the 4 agencies that we currently charge. And then the final option was to no change to the fee structure at all. So I'll give you the summary of the responses that I received. Most of the agencies understood the reasons why we would want to increase our fees, and they expressed appreciation for giving advance notice that it could happen. So this isn't something that'll happen this fiscal year, but possibly 25-26 fiscal year. So out of the 13 non-member agencies, only 1 did not respond. 4 of them were neutral about it. 5 preferred subsidized fees. 3 preferred being charged actual cost. None felt that we should only increase the current 4 contracted agencies' fees. 4 felt strongly that all non-member agencies should be charged, and 1 would discontinue being broadcast if they were charged a fee. And out of the member agencies, 1 did not respond, 2 felt that actual full charge made the most sense, and 1 suggested simplifying the billing to be an average charge that resulted in approximately full cost of recovery. And then 4 of them did not have strong preference on the fees. And I also polled them on the mobile flight pack, and 2 of the member agencies and 1 non-member agency felt that agencies using the flight pack should be charged actual cost. And I plan on returning in September with a proposal for a draft fee structure.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Kristen. And with that, I only have one other item. It's the most important one, is that there will be a celebration for Liz Rhodes in Hearing Room 2 after the conclusion of today's meeting. So if you want cake, or if you want to say goodbye to Liz, or if you just want to say hi, please come to Hearing Room 2 after this meeting.
And to be clear, that'll be after the closed session, right?
Well, I think it's going to be going on in closed session, but I think there will be a lot of people that will want cake in the closed session, so it will continue on after the closed session.
Okay, well, let's do what we can to make sure we can try to do both with respect to everyone's time and, of course, the time that Liz has put in over the years. So, okay, so with that, do we have to do public comment on this one?
There are no public comments for the remainder of your agenda, but are there any Board of Director comments? Item number 12, reports or updates?
Board of Director comments, questions?
I'll make it fast. This is a budget season. Bob Davidson, I know it's heavy. Thank you so much for especially Liz and your team. And also, Christine, pass that kudos to all the operators covering all these. Sometimes 1 o'clock meetings, City of Folsom. Anyway, I always make a point to appreciate them, my sincere appreciation as well. Liz, congratulations and job well done. Mr. Mayor, yes, thank you.
Okay, any other, no other requests to speak? So I think then we will go to closed session. And then if there's something to report, then
we will be back, and just for members of the public, we don't anticipate any reportable action, but we'll report as appropriate.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. See you in the other room.
Okay.